Thanks, Senator. But Senator Tester, you're recognized for questions.
I want to thank you for holding this hearing, you and the ranking member. I appreciate it very much. I want to thank the folks who are testifying today. We got murders, we got child molesters, we got rapists, we got drug peddlers, we got people who commit armed robbery, and then we got robocallers, okay? And it distresses me a lot when I hear that there's $700 million of fines that have been levied and no collections. Ms. Brown, were you with the U.S. Attorney's Office at one point in time in your career? Is that what I gathered?
I was at Main Justice at the Department of Justice.
Well, that's good enough. So, look, they got all this stuff. I know the U.S. Attorney in Montana, for example, is very, very busy running down people who are doing horrific crimes. By the way, I could make a claim that this is nearly as horrific as any of those ones I mentioned before. Why? Because I've got a business. I was on top of a combine this year. The phone's ringing. I'm expecting a call from my wife. I bust off the combine, damn near break my leg. I get to the call, and the guy's asking me if I paid my loan for when I was in school. I haven't been in college in 45 years, and I didn't have a loan when I went then because it was a different time, okay? So these guys are bad, bad people. The question I have is, the DOJ has levied these fines, and none of it's been collected. There is an effort here in this body to defund the Department of Justice. Do they have enough people? For you, Ms. Brown.
Well, having been at Main Justice, I know they have a lot of priorities. They have a lot of people. I do think the department can probably walk and chew gum at the same time and prioritize a few more of these cases, if that's what you're asking.
I would love it, because we can pass all the laws we want here, and we can take credit for passing these laws, but unless somebody drops the hammer on these clowns and makes them pay a price, puts them out of jail, or better yet, even puts them in jail, and I'd pay more taxes to put these people in jail, I think it's going to continue to happen. And it's going to happen. When I was in the state legislature, 20 years ago, we passed a do not call list. I've signed up for multiple do not call lists, and I get more robocalls today than I did back in 2003, for example, 20 years ago. So the question is does Congress need to do any more? Or is this all about enforcement?
For me again, Senator?
Ms. Saunders, I'll let you go. Ms. Brown got the last one, so we'll spread it around.
It's your turn.
Our main point in the testimony that I've submitted is that the incentives need to be changed, whatever way it's done.
Well, I understand if you hit somebody in their wallet, that kind of hurts.
Right, right. And what we've proposed is that the FCC adopt a methodology such as is permitted under the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure to get a temporary restraining order.
And they have not done that yet?
No. So that once a particular voice service provider is found to be a repeat offender and to continue to process illegal calls after it's been notified previously, the FCC should suspend immediately its ability to
Do the rest of the people on the panel agree with that perspective? Ms. Brown?
I haven't reviewed closely Ms. Saunders' proposal, but I'm not sold that we need new authorities over at the FCC to do the kind of suspensions that she's talking about. I think they've got the tools.
But do you think those suspensions would be okay if they did them?
On the voice service side, I'm not sure exactly whether there'd be some unintended consequences there of what she's proposing, but they certainly can do more with their cease and desist orders and notices.
Mr. Burkio?
So I think when we're talking about fraud, one of the themes is the fraud actors change their behavior. They've moved from robocalls to more targeted calls, and some of the tools we've built for robocalls don't work as well for a live call. There's a big difference from I let someone on my network make.
But you know what? I very seldom get live calls. I get a call from a damn computer that sounds like a live person that then, if I stay on long enough, goes to a live person who I ask why don't they get a real job, because there's plenty of jobs out there in society now instead of being a crook. So why is there a difference here?
So in that would be a pre-recorded call, but I still think enforcement against the fraudsters is really the key there, because they're going to keep adapting as the rules and the protections change. Doesn't mean we shouldn't keep adding more protections, but they will always keep working to try to get around them.
I got it. That's what a crook does. They look for and by the way, these are crooks. They look for the weakest link in the fence. So I came to this hearing hoping that I would hear from some of you, and I did hear from Ms. Sanders' view. what we can do to stop, not to slow down, we've been slowing down forever, but to stop these folks. Anybody have anything that Congress can do to stop them? Or, I haven't asked you a question yet, Mr. Rudolph.
You referenced you received a loan robocall, right?
Yeah, I've taxes, loan robocalls. And by the way, it's the same voice, the same computer, the same call, sometimes called from my neighbor's phone, by the way. So I don't know if that's illegal now or not. I had a neighbor that got a call from his own phone number one time. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy stuff that this country doesn't need in their economy. Keep going.
So your loan robocall, I would strongly suggest that's domestic originated, and that's an area that I would call gray area telemarketing. So in this case, right now we track thousands of active campaigns per week, and current enforcement efforts are just working on the highest volume, prioritized campaigns. So your specific robocall, if you can get your state or you can get the FCC to put that on the priority list, that's one that we've got the tools and the techniques to diffuse. There's just not enough manpower to have a priority list that goes more than 10, 15 campaigns deep. So if we can start working 50, 100 campaigns deep on a week-to-week basis, the FCC has showed effectively that the highest volume campaigns can be stopped.
Just for the record, if any of you know how many of these are done out of state versus in country, out of country, I would love to know that information. Thank you all. This is a bunch of crap, I'll just tell you. We need to stop this. This is not good for anybody. And for the robocallers out there, go get a damn job.